Now, two-year-old Nigerian education technology startup ULesson has announced it closed a $15 million Series B funding round. This comes 11 months after the company raised $7.5 million in a Series A funding round. The B Series round was completed by 5 investors: Tencent, Nelson Ventures, Owl Ventures, Telcom Capital, and Founder Collective. The $15 million Series B round is the largest disclosed investment in an African EdTech startup. Fisayo Durojaye is an investment analyst with EchoVC Partners, and he joins me to discuss this latest money, millions of dollars. Further, he's the one I speak to all the time when it comes to millions of dollars flowing into the education sector. Good morning. Great to have you again on the show.
Good to be back.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been quite a couple of weeks. Can you tell me a little bit more on the different funding rounds for tech startups, in particular for the education services industry?
I mean, generally, the way tech startups announce a funding round, so we start from the maybe the pre-seed round, the seed round, the Series A, the Series B. These are just to name different categories of funding that they have. But essentially, there's no hard and fast rule to say, okay, this is the round that you're raising. It is largely dependent on what the founders think, or what the founders or the investors think is the current stage of the business. So most businesses at this stage, have different characteristics, have different expectations from the investors. Same for businesses at the A and of course at the B. So for ULesson specifically here, they announced a $50 million Series B round, essentially showing that they are not just a new business that started a couple of weeks ago. They have about 2 million downloads or for their apps on Play Store today, right? So it's a fairly large business, and of course, the funding round suggests the size of the business.
I'm just beginning to think that the whole education thing is moving out of the brick and mortar schools. It's all going online, on PC, on mobile phone, and I think we're maybe going to get up to one day in which schools are just existing online and everything, and we don't see schools anymore.
I mean, that is not impossible.
Maybe it's a long way off, but not impossible.
It's a long way off, actually. But we started seeing technology, development around the metaverse, where people can be physically present somewhere virtually. And then of course education can be served that way as well. So we can see that happen today. Even some of the biggest education institutions across the world have distant learning. They have online learnings already, and they've developed that. In fact, of course, COVID helped improve all of that in the past 1 year. But we started seeing all of that happen. In recent years, some of us are still. Yes, I invest in the tech space, but some of us are still very traditional. I'd rather go to physical Harvard than online Harvard, right?
The feel of the building, the environment.
The people, the relationships, the connection that you could potentially make, that cannot, I'm not sure how much of that you can get online. But of course, we start seeing people, learning online.
Before you dream all that away, let's get back to this conversation about this $15 million Series B round. Apparently the largest disclosed investment in African EdTech startup. Should that be celebrated? What do you make of this amount of money?
Okay, I'm not one of those people that celebrates funding rounds because I think that it's a call to action, not a call to celebration. Someone that invested $15, it's not a gift. The person wants to make returns. Mm-hmm. So the founders of a thing right now, how do I make this 50 million, 100 million? How do I make this 50 million, 200 million? How do I ensure that the investors that bet on me today have some form of returns in the next 5-10 years, right? And they are not regretting making these investments today. So it's a large amount, so it also comes with a large responsibility. So I think that's how I view it.
Interesting. So, $7.5 million series just about 11 months ago, $15 million Series B now. Mm-hmm. Is this figure likely to go up after each round?
It's most of the time that's how funding rounds go. When you're a small company, you raise small amounts. The larger you get, it means that you need bigger amounts. And of course, it's also a function of ambition. Right, so ULesson, maybe when they were doing the seed round, they just focused on Lagos or Nigeria. But by Series A, they were already in Nigeria, Ghana, Gambia, across other West African countries. Maybe with this funding round, they want to go, international to Philippines, to other emerging markets. So with those kind of ambitions, it means that you need more capital to be able to deploy and move across across the world. I mean, depending on where the ambition leads.
Do you think this kind of funding will attract more of such investments into Nigeria? Is it a possibility? Is it a curtain raiser in the manner of speaking?
I mean, it is. So again, we need to be careful because Sim Shagai, who is the founder of ULesson, also founded Konga. So he's not a small entrepreneur. He's not a young person when it comes to this entrepreneurship. So he has been burnt many times, and somehow he seems to have figured this one out and gotten right.
Yeah, he's gotten his lessons.
I mean, yeah, so he's learned his lessons, I guess.
He's learned his lessons.
Right. And I think that's a very thing. So, I mean, for someone like him, it's easier for him to raise capital compared to many other less experienced entrepreneurs. And of course, even in venture investing, all of us claim that we invest in the founders. So this founder is an elite founder any day, anytime. So that's one. Right. So will this help spur other investments in this space? I believe so, especially because people are now seeing what opportunities could potentially arise in Nigeria's education sector. Even despite all the challenges, broadband penetration being low, smartphone issues, ability to buy data and recharge and do all of that, we still see this company as growing. So it means that we might be able to argue for other models of delivering educational content to people, and that could attract its own investments as well.
In your opinion, you think this pandemic is a game changer? Is a systemic thing that has changed, and you think that we've turned the corner and there's no going back? I
mean, I think we've turned the corner. I mean, during last year, we've seen preschoolers, 4-year-olds, 5-year-olds learning on Zoom, right? So this was unthinkable, before the pandemic.
Just 5 years ago?
I mean, just 3 years ago.
Yeah.
How would I send my child to be learning on Zoom? 4-year-old, what's he learning on Zoom? Right?
Because our idea of schooling is a brick and mortar one.
Exactly. So once that pandemic happened, and of course, because we know that the tests are not waiting for you, schools are shut down, but people need to continue to learn. We have to adopt, less conventional ways of getting ourselves educated. And it doesn't have to be physical. It doesn't have to be via a physical teacher in a physical classroom and doing all of that. So, but with ULesson targeting much older sets of people, SS1 students, SS2 students, SS3 students, JS1, that is even a more ready market compared to the preschoolers that I just gave examples of. So I think the pandemic definitely helped spur the adoption of EdTech across the world, actually, not just in Nigeria.
How affordable, my friend?
So I think that from what I've found, right, the founders have built some partnership with telcos that allows people to use the app without necessarily spending their data. That's number one. And of course, because it's also again, that's one thing about technology. It allows you to deliver the same content to millions of people at no extra cost. So I'll give an example. I've recorded this video teaching you quadratic equation, right? It doesn't cost me an extra $1 to make that video available to much more people across the world. And that's what it is. So it's pretty affordable that parents can afford to
at the back of everything we've been discussing, it's a broadband internet.
Yes.
So the Nigerian Communications Commission is holding a mock 5G auction today ahead of the real auction on Monday.
Yes.
You're interested in that?
Of course, definitely, because without 5G connectivity, I mean, video content can be consumed the way it should be consumed. Things around, virtual reality, the metaverse, a lot of things will drag without proper broadband internet connectivity. And I think, yes, it's a step in the right direction.
Step in the right direction.
Yes.
Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.